In the early days of my gaming, I was enamored with even the most basic of games. I didn't have a good computer, and I rarely bought new games. But there was one that I played on my phone and my Nintendo DSi that brings me back to a good time. A simple tower defense game that changed the way I look at mobile games. So hello everyone, my name is Shmenty, and this is my tribute to Plants vs. Zombies. The year was 2009. It's difficult to think that that was 12 years ago, at least today in 2021. The thing about 2009 is that mobile games still hadn't taken off yet. In fact, mobile phones really hadn't taken off yet, the way that we know them now. Sure, BlackBerry was becoming a thing, but Apple and the iPhone was not exactly commonplace. It was a completely different time, a completely different place to the Earth we know now. In the realm of Modern Warfare 2 and Left 4 Dead, there was a need for a genre that we now know is common to be completely revamped. Did you ever play a little game called Insane Aquarium as a kid? I didn't actually remember the name of this game for the better part of the last decade. I just knew it as a game that I used to play on my grandma's old computer. The only reason I remember it is because it was made by a small studio called PopCap Games. PopCap was known for one game at the time, a game called Bejeweled. Chances are you've heard of it. I was never crazy about these types of games. Games like Candy Crush Saga and Bejeweled I didn't really care about. So I really didn't know anything about the studio until they released a small tower defense game about being a homeowner in the zombie apocalypse. The creator of the game thought that the maze and pathing elements of typical tower defense games were too complex and wonky, so he decided to just use plants as barriers. The name of the game, Plants vs. Zombies, was initially a placeholder. They didn't think that that name would be the final one that people loved, but they wanted to actually make a pun on the movie Dawn of the Dead and call it Lawn of the Dead. Instead, they stuck with the placeholder name. This origin story really doesn't sound like one that would dominate gaming for years, but yet here we are. You want to know what I really hate? I hate when a game is too challenging and slow, or too easy but fast. But Plants vs. Zombies combines the best part of both of those. It's challenging, but it's fast. Sure, the first couple levels won't give you too much of a headache, but some of the further on levels are legitimately difficult that takes some thinking to get through. If it took 20 minutes to complete each level, it'd get stale pretty quickly, and I wouldn't have any motivation to get to the further levels. But it doesn't. No, Plants vs. Zombies is a high-octane game. Most of the games that I've loved have one thing in common. They're all about creativity. And Plants vs. Zombies is no exception. It's all on you to figure out which combination of plants you can make to be best suited for each level. And it gives a fresh look at the typically stale genre where you can just change in-game. But in this, you have to select your loadout before you actually get in, and you can't change it. So, the game launched on macOS and Windows for $10 back in 2009. Okay, but what about that newfangled smartphone technology becoming popular right now, I hear you say? Well, a PopCap thought of that too. A mobile phone version released alongside a Nintendo DS version in 2010, and this is where I started to play this game. Road trips, late nights, in school, out of school, it didn't matter. This game solidified mobile games' place in my heart, and I really can't forget the memories I have with it. There's more than just the standard adventure game mode here. There's a ton more, actually. There's a Zen garden that you can just chill out on after you complete adventure, and mini-games like bowling and iZombie. It's a ton of fun to just chill on one of the mini-games and not have to care about your progress. And it's a great element inside the game that, honestly, mobile games have stopped doing for the most part. I'm not gonna say that this game is absolutely phenomenal. I think it's a very good game, but there are definitely better ones out there, especially in the mobile tower defense genre. No, the reason I love this game so much is just what it means to me. What it means to the kid I used to be. I dug my old Nintendo DSi out of a box the other day, and I took a look at some of the games I used to play. I remember so much what I would have typically forgotten, and I miss each and every memory to this day. Plants vs. Zombies would be my go-to game for anyone who wanted to get into casual gaming. It's a simple premise that anyone could understand, from age 6 to 60. The graphics are this beautiful, South Park-esque style of animation that's clean to look at and doesn't hurt my eyes after a few hours. The gameplay is charmingly simple. Simple enough to play a game on your toilet, and simple enough to set it down right afterwards. But it was complex enough to hook me in for hours without me getting bored. I have special memories with this game. I don't know what it is about how it's made, but it just feels real. It feels wholesome. I don't know how to explain it, but it feels more like a game made by someone you know than a AAA company. It's like a long-lost friend that's been waiting for you after all these years. Playing it on my DSi brought back memories I thought were lost, times that were forgotten. I loved this game, and I loved it, and I wouldn't trade the times I had on it for anything. As I watch Crazy Dave rambling on my screen, as the soundtrack starts playing those familiar notes, I was content. It wasn't this awe-inspiring moment that completely changed my life, but it was more like a nod to the kid I used to be when I played this game. I can't promise you that you'll love this game, and plenty of people don't love it, but what I can say is if you used to play this, re-download it. Maybe even start playing through it again. Even for a minute, it could take you back to wherever you were when you played this game, when we loved this game. I know I didn't mention any of the sequels in this video, but honestly, the only one I really grinded was Garden Warfare, and that definitely deserves its own video because it's a completely different game. So expect that in the future. Thank you guys so much for all the support recently. I know I took a little bit of a break, but I'm back now in full force. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and make sure to check out my Twitch and Discord. Both links are in the description below. Thank you all so much again. This has been Shmenty, and I'll see you in the next one.